Thanks, Sophie. Coming up on BBC London this evening. As a heat health alert is issued from today, we hear why so many buildings in the capital struggle to cope with rising temperatures.
Our schools, our hospitals, our care homes, our homes themselves, these are the places where we care and nurture for people, but at the moment they're on their way to becoming a real risk and hazard to our lives and livelihoods, suffering from massive overheating problems.
Also on the programme, rebuilding trust. We hear from young Londoners after two Met police officers were sacked over the inappropriate strip search of a 15-year-old black girl. Plus,
Lizzie King is Queen of Tennis.
50 years after her last Wimbledon win, Billie Jean King is back in SW19 as the tennis tournament returns, and she's still hoping to change the sport. And find out why this special herd of puppets has been making a journey through the capital today. Good evening and welcome. I'm Alice Bandukravi. First tonight, a heat health alert has come into force as the capital braces for a second summer heat wave. It means our emergency services and the whole population could be affected by the rising temperatures, with expected highs of 34 degrees on Monday. So are we prepared for our warming climate? A new report says many of our homes, offices and schools are not equipped to deal with the heat, and the capital is extremely vulnerable when it comes to wildfires. Frankie McCamley reports.
It's one way to keep cool without letting go of your scooter, especially as temperatures are expected to hit the mid-30s in the next few days. But while this intense heat is fun for some, others are warning of its detrimental impacts.
People think these are concerns about a future climate, something that's hot or wet or wild or coming down the track at us, but actually it's happening in the here and now. So if we look at London, for instance, people think of wildfires as something that affects California or Australia, but actually wildfires are happening here already. If we look at Wellington and Greater London, 2022 wildfires ripped right through the centre of the town.
And it's not just outside, it's buildings as well. Talk me through the resilience that buildings have in London, especially those older ones.
So, one of the really strong threads that came through from the roadmap was that buildings need to be the first line of defence here. So if we think of our schools, our hospitals, our care homes, our homes themselves, these are the places where we care and nurture for people, but at the moment they're on their way to becoming a real risk and hazard to our lives and livelihoods.
The team say buildings need to be more prepared for extreme weather conditions and have developed a map of London highlighting built-up areas that are most at risk.
So at a simple level, when you look at the mapping that was done as part of our climate resilience roadmap, what that does is, in very simple terms, if you see hexagons that are purple or red, that's extremely high risk from the overheating and the more intense weather to come. Slightly lighter colours, slightly lower risk, but as you can see from that map, almost the entirety of central London is in that very high risk category.
Buildings in the UK are typically made to keep heat in, so they're going to become very hot over the weekend as we get towards the warmer weather. So our advice is always to make sure that any buildings that you're in are well ventilated. If it is getting too hot in your workplace, raise that with your manager or supervisor and perhaps see if there's a way of keeping extra cool, so perhaps making sure that you're more hydrated than usual, that you're near to a window if you can. If you've got an air conditioning system, make sure that it's clean, it's safe and it's working.
For people living in small flats with no garden or outdoor space, or for those working in office blocks and hot buildings, a small oasis like this with shade and a light breeze can be an absolute lifeline for some, especially as this hot weather sets in.
So the race is on to find new innovative solutions to protect our infrastructure for the next generation. Frankie McCamley, BBC London.
Well, how are you planning on dealing with the rising heat? Are you changing how you work or get around the capital during the heat wave? Do get in touch and let us know your plans. You can email us at hellobbclondon@bbc.co.uk. Well, that's our top story this evening, and here's what's coming up on This Weekend Politics London.
With the two main parties struggling in the polls, we ask, can the Reform Party start to make an impact on the capital's political landscape? Do join me, Samantha Simmons, this Sunday at 10 a.m. on BBC One. See you then.
The family of the 14-year-old boy killed in a sword attack last year have described their loss as painful and deeply traumatic. Daniel Anjorin was murdered as he walked to school in Hainault in April 2024. His killer has been given a life sentence with a minimum term of 38 years. Daniel's father, Dr. Ebenezer Anjorin, spoke outside court.
Daniel was taken from us in a way that no family should ever have to endure. His life had so much potential ahead. He was gifted academically, was kind, and had a generous spirit that touched everyone who knew him. We carry that light with us, even in this dark time. We want to express our deepest thanks to the police, prosecution team, and all those who work tirelessly to seek the truth.
The Met Police still has a huge amount of work to do to win back the confidence of black Londoners. That's according to the mother of a 15-year-old black girl who was strip-searched at her school in Hackney. The girl, identified only as Child Q, had been wrongly accused of carrying cannabis. And yesterday, 2 officers were sacked for gross misconduct. A disciplinary panel found the search was disproportionate, inappropriate and humiliating. It also concluded that race was not a factor in how she was treated. The Met said it recognises the need for reform.
It starts by making sure we reduce the use of such searches to make sure they're only used in such instances as directly intelligence-led. But at the same time, we do need to be aware that whilst London is one of the safest major cities in the world, the fact is that we do still see high instances of drug crime and sometimes knife-related crime, including against children and young people, in all of our communities. And quite often this disproportionately affects black communities. So I hope the community will understand and work with us on the fact that we need to utilise stop and search in order to best protect the community from such harms. But ultimately we need to do so in a way that's fair and proportionate.
So are those changes being felt by Londoners, particularly young black Londoners? Our Home Affairs correspondent Sonia Jessup has been to Hackney to hear some of their experiences and how the case of Child Q affected them.
You walk your daughter to school and you walk your daughter back.
The strip search of the black schoolgirl known as Child Q led to public outcry and protests, and the impact is still being felt. These young people in Hackney remember hearing about the case when they were at school.
Because I thought if it could happen to a girl that is younger than me, imagine what could happen to me.
Just to judge someone because they smell of something and just to strip search them without parental consent, it really angered me. And it angered a lot of people within my community as well.
I don't think this would have happened to like a white girl from a grammar school, for example. And the way that it makes me think that how do teachers see me? How do teachers see my friends? And could this happen to me? And it made me just feel really scared.
So it just made me think, is the police against us or with us?
Several told me the case had made them feel less safe and fearful of the police themselves.
So now I have to look how I walk, how I dress, just to make sure a police officer doesn't look at me in the wrong way.
I feel like a duty to protect my younger brother and to tell him about it. But I think it's sad that we even have to be having conversations about this because it should be the police that's changing, not us.
18-year-old Prince says he has had a bad experience of being searched and is still upset by the way it was handled.
My record is clean and I've never done anything bad to be in the books of like the police or anything. So like the way they treated me, it wasn't really right. And yeah, it made me feel a type of way about it, as if, is it because I'm black? Like, is it because of the way I look? Is it because I've got dreads?
Tosin believes police need to work more closely with communities.
I think the police has a lot of stereotypes towards black individuals. Like, if you look at me right now, I have twists, I have earrings, people might think I come from a bad background, but actually come from a pretty good background. So I think as long as the police just communicate with people and don't really engage with ethnic minorities, we can have a good relationship.
Edem says he has met officers he trusts through his youth group and the Black Police Association.
The way they connected with me, the way they were from the same communities that I was from, it showed that they cared about progress and how to keep everyone safe.
The Met says it's changed its policy on strip searching children and improved training. It's also been consulting with communities on a new approach to stop and search. But will it work?
Some sessions I went there and the police officers felt like they didn't want to be there, and they felt like it's just another chore they had to do.
We can talk till the cows come home, but actually we want to see change happen, and we're just not seeing that happen.
Youth worker Paul Anderson says the Met needs to be more open, more transparent, and listen to young people who want to feel safe in their community. Sonia Jessup, BBC London.
OK, let's take a look at some of the day's other news now. Detectives have launched an investigation into the death of an 18-year-old man following a shooting in Enfield yesterday evening. Police were called to Great Cambridge Road near Hoe Green Park, where they found the teenager with gunshot wounds. He died later from his injuries. No arrests have been made. And a man who stalked the Girls Aloud singer Cheryl has admitted breaching a restraining order after turning up at her home. Daniel Bannister pleaded guilty at Reading Magistrates Court and was remanded in custody. He'd already been jailed twice for targeting the star at her home in Buckinghamshire and was sentenced to 16 weeks in March. A man who kicked through the windscreen of an ambulance and threw bricks at the crew has avoided jail and been given community service. The London Ambulance Service crew had been called to a housing estate in East London last summer. Well, Barry Caffrey is here with the details. Barry, what more do we know?
So as you say, Alice, this London Ambulance crew was called to a housing estate in Rotherhithe last summer to help a man called Siet Bek Erkan Ulu. The crew were helping the man. He became very aggressive and wanted to leave the ambulance to try and find his bicycle. Now, the crew then got into the front of the ambulance. They tried to leave the housing estate, and as they were manoeuvring out of the estate, Mr. Ulu got into the front of the ambulance. He jumped on top of the bonnet. The crew said the man was punching and stamping on the windscreen, and they described it as an attack that just went on, and something out of a horror movie. Now, the pair were covered in broken glass, and one of the bricks hit one of the men. Now, the man was then arrested. He pleaded guilty to assault of an emergency worker and being drunk and disorderly in a public place, and earlier this month he was sentenced at Croydon Magistrates Court. He was ordered to pay a fine of £114, to abstain from alcohol for 4 months and to complete 150 hours of community service, but he did not receive a custodial sentence. Earlier this afternoon I spoke with the Director of Operations at London Ambulance Service.
We always want the utmost sanction for behaviour like this, and anyone who's seen it can't help but look at it and say this is disgusting behaviour, we can't tolerate it, and we have to see the highest possible sanctions for this sort of behaviour.
So for this particular case, do you think some people may wonder why something stronger wasn't handed down?
I'm sure many people will wonder that. I'm sure many paramedics will wonder that. I think that's a question for the courts.
And Barry, figures show that attacks on ambulance workers are increasing.
That's right. According to data collated by the Association of Ambulance Chief Executives, there were more than 15,000 incidents against ambulance staff nationally in 2022-2023. Now, that figure rose to 19,000 the following year, and last year's figure of 22,536 is the highest figure ever reported, an increase of just 14.8% on the previous year. Now, the chair of the Association of the Ambulance Chief Executives says this appalling behaviour has a long-term impact on the health and well-being of ambulance staff as well as their families.
Of course. Thank you very much for that, Barry. Well, still to come before 7. Find out why this special herd of puppets has been making a journey through the capital today. Now, at this time of year, London's many alfresco eating and drinking spots can be in high demand. But the owner of one popular pub in southeast London says around 70 jobs could go if he's forced to remove the outdoor dining area next to his venue. Greenwich Council has ordered the owners of Trafalgar Tavern in Greenwich to remove most of the tables and chairs because they cause an obstruction. Thomas McGill has the story.
Alfresco dining by the Thames at one of London's most popular spots. Every Sunday I go to Westminster for Mass, and then I come here and they cook my lunch for me.
For us, it's always been quite a clean place for us. And it's over the years, it's kind of developed, isn't it? It's got better.
But bosses here at the Trafalgar Tavern could have to call time on most of its outdoor seating area after the council demanded its removal.
The reasons why they have served the enforcement notices, they say it's visual clutter, it prevents people from enjoying the view of the river, and it doesn't provide access.
Do you accept that perhaps there is, during busy times, a problem here for people who are wanting to use the pathway but not necessarily use the pub?
No, I don't think there's a problem, because there's a 5-foot walkway here, so you have a natural 5-foot walkway. It goes to 2.5, 3 meters here, so the minor inconvenience of walking around someone is that a really inconvenience?
It's a move that's angered many, including the Jones family, who are regular visitors.
I think there's still space for them to bring like prams and things like that through, and there's still bikes and things like that come through. I think it'd be a shame if they got rid of it, because it's a lovely area.
It is a bit busy when there's bikes and things coming past, but no, it's part of the experience. I think this is a lovely classic pub, so I think it should stay.
It's lovely being by the river, seeing all the sights. It's just an amazing place. It's got a really nice energy about it.
It brings in trade, brings in a community, and I think that's where we need to get back to.
Well, bosses here have appealed the council's enforcement notice, saying that it could lead to more than 70 job losses. Greenwich Council have told us in the circumstances it would be inappropriate to make any further comments. Who will win this latest battle of Trafalgar will be decided later in the summer. Thomas McGill, BBC London.
Now, Wimbledon fortnight begins on Monday, and this year a special anniversary will be marked. It's 50 years since Billie Jean King won the last of her 6 Wimbledon titles. The American, who won a total of 12 Grand Slam singles titles, was instrumental in fighting for greater equality in sport. And she's been telling our sports reporter Chris Slegg that there's still much work to do.
Mrs. King is Queen of Tennis.
Billie Jean King, 6 times a Wimbledon singles winner, and a champion who's left an even greater legacy off the court than on it. She co-founded the Women's Tennis Association and fought for equal prize money. 50 years on from the last of her Wimbledon triumphs, she's been back in SW19 to share her story with a new generation.
What makes you a winner? What are you good at? Don't keep harping on what you're not good at. Put the time and effort in what makes you great.
I know as a child I used to dream about winning Wimbledon, because you weren't number 1 in the world unless you won Wimbledon in those days. We didn't have computer rankings like we do now. So it was really major that you win this one. You have to win this one.
Wimbledon was the last Grand Slam to pay equal prize money, and continues to stand accused by some of alienating many through tradition. King would like to see the all-white dress code ditched.
What about other sports? If you look at them, usually they have colors in their uniform. And we have to get 7, 8, 9-year-old children. So I think it's really important to think about them. All white, you go, who's who? You have to figure out who's playing. I don't see the names on the back. They both wear all white. No, our job is to make it easy on the fans and get new fans and get new people that want to play or to watch or be a part of our great sport.
Outside the slams, there's still disparity in prize money. This year, Queen's offered a £2 million pool to the men and £1 million to the women, though the LTA has committed to equal purses by 2029.
What next to try and force that change? Do the players need to use their voices in the way that you did?
Yes, the players have to speak up and to really get people behind it and think about things. So I find the players don't say too much anymore about. It's really important, I tell the players, to think about we and not me.
So what chance Emma Raducanu of one day following Billie Jean King as a Wimbledon champion?
I would love her to do well, because she is so articulate when she speaks. She would be a great leader, by the way, for the women's tennis movement to make our sport better. She is unbelievable. I always hope that she'll stay well, do well, and she definitely could be a leader.
There will be other trailblazers. There'll never be another Billie Jean King. Chris Slegg, BBC London.
Legend. Well, staying with Wimbledon, and Essex's Henry Patton says he's incredibly excited to be returning to the tournament next week to defend his men's doubles title with his partner. 12 months ago, the pair were unknown and unseeded and caused a huge shock to lift the trophy. Then they followed up their Wimbledon success by winning the Australian Open doubles title in January. Henry's been speaking to James Burridge.
The British grass court season is underway. 12 months ago, few though had heard of this man, Colchester's Henry Patton, back on court with his doubles partner Harry Hediavara. 5 years ago, Patton nearly took a financial job. Good thing he didn't.
And what a victory!
Because at Wimbledon last year, he won the best payday of his tennis career, winning the Wimbledon doubles title.
I think there's a lot of pressure going back as defending champion. You know, we've got a lot of points to defend, but I think that's a really nice thing, is that no matter how we do this year or the year after, my name will always be there. So yeah, that's something to hold on to. I'll definitely go and check it out when I'm there.
6 months later, Patton and Hediavara proved their Wimbledon success wasn't a fluke, winning the Australian Open doubles title at 2 a.m. in the morning.
We went on after the women's final, which was an amazing long match. But then, yeah, I think we walked on court at about 11 p.m. And it's a funny feeling, like having coffee at kind of 10 p.m. at night, thinking, you know, what am I doing? And then after the first set, having another coffee and, you know, trying to just keep everything moving. But yeah, it was an epic match. It was so different to Wimbledon, because Wimbledon, you know, obviously we were in front of the home crowd for me. They were getting behind Harry as well, and it was packed. Like, the atmosphere was amazing. Whereas in Australia, by 1 o'clock in the morning, it was people had started to filter out a little bit.
Next week, Henry heads back to Wimbledon to defend his doubles title, hoping the memories will propel him to world #1.
I think when we step on court, like, that's when the nerves start to come in. But it's about trying to have the nerves help you as much as you can. You know, you get a little bit nervous before every tennis match, to be honest. Still. No matter how many you play. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. We haven't done it before. We haven't defended a Grand Slam before, so we'll see how it goes.
Patton may not get the headlines of Jack Draper and Emma Raducanu, but he's happy out of the limelight and ready to see his trophy again.
James Burridge there. Now, if you were in central London this morning, you might have spotted some unlikely commuters heading into town. This life-sized herd of animal puppets arrived this morning. They've made their way through parts of Africa and into Spain and France as they migrate to the Arctic Circle. It's all to raise awareness of climate change. Hannah Gray has been to meet them.
A striking stampede of animal puppets crossing Tower Bridge at dawn. It's an incredibly strange sight, designed to startle and surprise and bring the capital's streets to a standstill.
The idea behind it is a group of animals suddenly get alarmed. They feel that something innate is wrong with the world, with the system, and they start running, because animals feel things way before we do. And as they start running, more and more animals amass, and it becomes this mass migration.
The herd's tour began in April in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's been travelling north, appearing in locations in Africa and Europe. It's in London this weekend and then migrating onwards, ending at the Arctic Circle, travelling 20,000 kilometres in total.
This is highlighting that climate change is affecting wildlife too, and all of our habitats. We are in danger of losing so many wild species and so many wild habitats, and we need to take action now.
Unusual and perhaps a little unsettling for some, the 80 animals are made from recycled materials. The puppeteers add new bits of cardboard from each city they visit. Just like real wild animals, they're unpredictable. 1 second they're playing, the next they get a secret command in their earpiece and they start to charge.
You burst out and the animals cannot be ignored. The audience stampede with us.
Joshua is a student at the Wimbledon College of Arts. He helped create some of the puppets. He fell so deeply in love with the project, he applied to be a company member so he could join the 10-week tour with the animals.
Children are always extremely engaged, and I think that's where the heart of the project is. If we can make children care for these animals how we have so quickly, then hopefully the future and the climate crisis will be able to do the work that's necessary.
This morning, a chorus of children sang to welcome the animals to the capital at Potter's Fields. The herds plan to surprise audiences with more street performances throughout the weekend. Hannah Gray, BBC London.
Now, with some hot days ahead, it's time to get that all-important weather forecast. Chris Fawkes is here and we are bracing ourselves, Chris.
Yeah, that's right, Alice. And, to get a heat wave here in the London area, you need 3 consecutive days with temperatures over 28 degrees Celsius. Today we have reached 28, so we can tick that one off. It is going to get hotter, though, over the next few days. You can see that on this chart. The red colours are where the temperatures are a long way above average, and we're kind of towards the extreme end of things by the time we get to Monday and Tuesday, when temperatures quite likely to reach around 34, 35 degrees Celsius. The all-time June temperature record is 35.6, so we're not going to be far away from that. Now, overnight tonight, we are looking at dry weather. There'll be a bit of cloud filling in later in the night, maybe a bit of mist up over some of our higher hills. But it's a warm night. Look at that. Central London, 19 degrees Celsius, your overnight low. So it's starting to get a bit uncomfortable for sleeping, I think, in the heat. Tomorrow, well, cloud will tend to thin and break, and we'll see spells of sunshine develop widely through the afternoon, and it is going to be a hotter day than today. I think our temperatures will peak at around 29 or 30 degrees Celsius during Saturday, but it will get hotter than that as we head into Sunday and the early part of next week. And the reason for that is this area of high pressure is just going to start to push its way eastwards into the continent, and with that we start to get more of a southerly flow, and that'll just boost the temperatures by a few more degrees. So Sunday, loads more in the way of sunshine, not as much cloud around. Given those sunnier skies with light winds, we are talking about a much hotter kind of day. Our temperatures climb up to 32 degrees Celsius through Sunday afternoon, but quite widely, even outside of the central London area, we're seeing those temperatures climb into the low 30s. It's a similar story, actually, as we head into Monday as well, with the heat continuing to build. And it's not just hot by day. We've got some very warm, uncomfortable nights ahead as well for sleeping. Top temperatures, Monday, 34, maybe a 35 degrees Celsius somewhere, either Monday or Tuesday, which looks to be the peak of the heat wave. So, yeah, stifling conditions staying with us over the next few days. Alice.
Stifling indeed. Chris, thanks very much for that. Well, that's about it from me. We'll be here later with our 10:30 programme. And of course, there's plenty more on our website. But for now, from all of us here, whatever you're doing, do enjoy your evening and have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.